Hi, so if you didn't see the poll that was up on my community page, it was basically just me asking what you would like to see next for a Satanist video. And you all overwhelmingly suggested that I make a video talking about how my religious beliefs affect my political beliefs. So first of all, I want to say that I consider myself personally to be a socialist or a leftist, but I also want to say that this video is not the full expanse of my political beliefs, nor is it everything that my religious beliefs have to do with my political beliefs. This is just like a brief overview, basically, of how my religious beliefs affect my political beliefs. Also, this is not me suggesting like an entirely new economic system based exactly on what I describe in this video. This is just me saying stuff I believe in, basically. Another disclaimer is that I am a satanic pagan. If you want to know more in depth about my religious beliefs, I already have a video. It's uploaded on my channel. You can go watch that. This video is actually formatted in kind of a similar way as that video, so watch it or don't. It's up to you. Next, there's a lot of disclaimers, but I, as a Satanist, do not literally believe in Satan. I am neither a member of the Satanic Temple or the Church of Satan. I do not endorse either groups. So, moving on. I also want to make it very clear that Satanism and paganism are inherently separate. They inherently have nothing to do with each other. I am just someone who takes aspects of both religions and combines them into one. So, and lastly, I believe in the separation of church and state. I am not saying that I want like a satanic-run government or a pagan-run government or anything like that. However, I do think it would be foolish to say that our religious beliefs have no effect on our political beliefs. So, and to expand on that, a lot of Christians seem to think that like if you don't believe in God, you must have like no moral or political beliefs, especially like moral beliefs. They really like emphasize like, how do you have morals if you don't believe in God? Which is concerning. Because it implies that if you didn't believe in God, you would just be like an insane criminal or something. So in my video discussing my religious beliefs, I broke it down into several sections based on what I believe, and I'm going to do the same thing here, but instead just tie it to my political beliefs. So following the same format, let's start with Satanist beliefs. The first one is autonomy. First, I believe that everyone has the right to their own autonomy within accordance to reason, meaning that if someone isn't necessarily alive yet, or if someone, I don't know, believes that people should be killed systemically, like that one guy did, yeah, you maybe don't deserve autonomy. I don't really care what happens to you. And that may be like controversial to some people who think that we need to be like friends with Yahtzees, but you know what? I don't care. If you're a Yahtzee, you don't get to have autonomy. Sorry, I don't make the rules. But I want to clarify that there is a reason that I believe that. It's not just because I dislike them or whatever. It's because I think that the autonomy of the vulnerable should be taken priority, in a sense. So if you are a woman who has a well-established life and is currently, you know, doing their thing, and if having a child would impede on that, then you shouldn't have to have a child. Simple enough. Or if you are just a regular person trying to live your life, and some bad person, some fascist comes along and says, hey, I don't think you deserve to live, then, you know, your autonomy should be protected over the person who's literally advocating for the murder of a lot of people. Now, I also want to clarify, though, that I'm not necessarily advocating for the death penalty, or at least not for, like, the death penalty of most people. Again, like, in the most extreme circumstance, if you are a member of the Third Reich, then, like, yeah, you should probably die. But, like, just, like, someone who, like, maybe killed a person, you know, probably not. Like, if you killed one person, or if you just did another, maybe not even necessarily violent crime, I don't think you should be sentenced to death. I think that you should probably be, like, I don't know, rehabilitated. And by rehabilitated, I don't mean like in an American-style prison. I mean more so like in a Swedish-style prison, I guess. Like in a better prison that actually focuses on rehabilitation rather than punishment, you know? And there are exceptions. Like if someone has been rehabilitated like multiple times and continues to try and or succeed to kill people, then yeah, they should probably will live in like a well-funded, humane prison, probably for the rest of their lives. because they've tried to do it so many times. I want to clarify that the likelihood, like if we are talking like, let's say in a Swedish style prison, like I mentioned, if we are talking about someone who has been through like a rehabilitation process, it is highly unlikely that they would go out and repeat those crimes again, because Swedish prisons are so effective overall. I just wanted to bring up the hypothetical situation because maybe not a lot of people have thought about it. I don't know. But yeah, that would be highly unlikely. Again, that's not up to me. And I'm not advocating that we should actually, like, do this. This is just what I think would be best in my own personal opinion. I think it should probably be up to, like, a judge or someone. I don't fucking know. And when it comes to someone who violates the autonomy of people on a systemic level that's not murder, like lawmakers who advocate for abortion bills, I don't think you necessarily should die, but I think you definitely, like, shouldn't be a lawmaker anymore, probably. So yeah, again, all of that ties back into autonomy. Everyone has a right to autonomy. If you violate someone's autonomy, you should be punished in varying degrees depending on how severely you violated people's autonomy. So, moving on. Fun life hack for you, if you light an incense and like spread the smoke around everywhere, basically if you like cleanse your room, it can usually stop flies from flying around, in my experience. But these guys are still kind of flying, so maybe they're just invincible, I don't know. So I talked about murder a lot in the last part, but I want to expand on that with the Satanist belief of respecting all life in accordance to reason. I think personally that murder is inherently a neutral thing. This is more of a moral discussion rather than a political one, but I think that murder is inherently neutral. So if a person, for example, is being attacked and they retaliate to an understandable degree, which possibly results in death of the attacker, then that's okay overall. Again, only if they retaliate like within reason. So, like, if someone punches you and then you stab them to death, that's not equal. But if someone punches you and then you punch them, then, like, you know, that's about equal, I'd say. Again, all of this would be up to, like, a judge or someone. I don't know. This is just my beliefs, all right? I want to make that very clear, because a lot of people feel like if you advocate for something, then that means that, like, you want to be the ultimate decider about that thing, which is not what I'm saying at all. And expanding on that, I want to clarify about war. So in times of war, if there is like widespread information that a country is systematically, whatever, killing or violating the autonomy of citizens or other people, going to war with that country, which will result in the death of soldiers from that country, is okay as long as you also, you know, don't kill civilians or people like that. So like in World War II, Germany was ending the lives of a lot of people. That was an okay war to get involved with. But in a country like, I don't know, Iraq, where you think they just might have had something to do with 9/11, then, you know, that's not really justifiable, in my opinion. Now, some people may counter that by saying that the government could just lie and say that there's war crimes somewhere and then just go in and do war against them for whatever other reason, probably oil, and just use the war crimes as a justification, whether they may or may not be true. To that, I would say that it needs to be specifically widespread information. So not just the government saying, hey, there's war crimes happening, but rather like photo evidence, preferably. I mean, photo evidence can still be faked, but, you know, I'm trying my best here. I'm 19, give me a break. No matter what, they just need to give clear, hard evidence and say, hey, this is why we're doing this. I want more transparency between the government and people, basically, is what I'm saying. Probably will never happen, but that's what I want. So next, I want to talk about questioning authority, the satanic belief of questioning authority, and I want to talk about that in a very specific way. So first, I want to say that I believe that here in the United States, we should abolish the two-party system, which may be controversial, I don't know, but I just kind of don't think we should really have political parties at all. Just because here in the United States, party line voting is a huge, but really awful circumstance where people are just like, well, my dad's a Republican, so I should be a Republican, and I'll just vote for the Republican guy and not actually look into their beliefs at all. That's what party line voting is, and it's a huge problem here. So rather than having like political parties, I think that people should just get on a platform and just say, hey, here's what I believe in, and here's what I would like to do if I were elected to office. And then people can be like, oh, I like that guy, I'm gonna vote for that person. This would also hopefully hold politicians more accountable, since they actually have to discuss what they believe in and what they would like to do in office. It also would hopefully drive us a little bit away from like the culture war stuff and actually discuss like real issues that would affect everyday Americans. Probably will never happen again. Most of this would probably never happen, but that's what I would like. For our last satanic belief, it's a little bit silly, but I want to talk about aesthetics. Now, to clarify, when I say aesthetics, I don't mean like in reference to like the military uniform or like what politicians wear or shit like that. I don't care about that. But what I do mean is that everyone should openly express their beliefs. Essentially, everyone should wear like a punk jacket of sorts. This is more of like a not really political, not really moral, just kind of like a thing I would like to see. But basically, I want people to be more okay with showing their beliefs openly and advocating for what they believe in, and not have to worry about, you know, like getting fired or being discriminated against, unless their beliefs are harmful to, you know, other people's autonomy, in which case, you know, do what you will. But I do believe that everyone should be, you know, they should feel comfortable expressing what they believe in. If you don't know what a punk jacket is, it's basically like really just anything like punk related, usually has like patches or like logos or things like that that would imply like what that person believes in politically. So like it doesn't have to be a punk jacket because that's related to a very specific subculture, but you know, just some stuff to wear, like, you know, like a bumper sticker or some shit. I don't care. I just think everyone should get to express their opinion, again, as long as they're not like a fascist. So okay, so next, I really only have like one pagan belief that can be tied to like my political or moral beliefs, just because like most of the stuff that can be related to paganism I already talked about with the Satanism aspect, because there are some like intersecting beliefs for those groups. But the main one I want to talk about is like respecting nature, you know, not tearing down the forests or killing endangered species or having endangered species in the first place, you know, dealing with climate change, things like that. And paganism, especially like Wicca, which is my personal beliefs, you know, nature's important, I guess. I guess nature is kind of a significant thing, and maybe we should protect it. I don't know. In the last section, I want to discuss my political and moral beliefs, specifically more so political beliefs, in regards to my Indigenous heritage and identity. As someone who has Indigenous heritage, there are a couple key factors that are important to me. For one thing, tribal sovereignty. I believe that tribes should be represented in government. I believe that tribes should have, at the very least, partial control over their territory. And to tie on to that, if a Native person were to be charged with a crime, they should be able to work that out in a Native court of law or in tribal court rather than in a federal court, you know? Or at least, like, you know, at least do both so that they can be represented fairly overall. But yeah, I just want more tribal representation in government and more tribal control over their own land. And to tie on to that, tribes also deserve more reparations than they already get. Because, like, they do get some, but, like, as I'm going to discuss later, moving on down the line, not as much as you would think and not as much as they deserve. I also believe in advocating more openly and being more forceful about Indigenous issues, specifically the missing and murdered Indigenous women issue, because it is awful, and I never see like non-native or people who don't have native heritage talking about it. Like, no one talks about it, and it's insane. Like, thousands of women have disappeared and been murdered, and no one fucking cares. I'm probably gonna make a video soon in the future specifically talking about missing and murdered Indigenous women, because it is a very serious problem that does not get addressed enough. So if you want to see that, let me know. I'll probably make the video even if you don't want to know, but still, I'll probably make that video. And next, I want to talk about probably the most controversial part of this, which is that blood quantum should not be required for tribal membership. To give a brief summary, tribes get money from the government, usually based on their population, right? That's the reparations that they get, and it's based on their population, so how many people are in the tribe. By restricting the population size via blood quantum or requiring people to have a certain amount of Indigenous blood to be in the tribe, you are restricting the amount of people who can actually join the tribe, which leads to a lower population, which means that the tribe doesn't get as much reparations as they should. By requiring tribal members to have a certain amount of blood quantum, the US and Canadian governments are essentially getting out of sending more aid to the tribes that they disenfranchised in the first place. Essentially, it's a tool of white supremacy and it shouldn't be used. That being said, I know that this was like kind of hectic with all the disclaimers and the fucking flies, but I hope that you like this video, and I hope that maybe you learned something, or maybe you just understand a little bit more about where I'm coming from and my specific beliefs. Either way, I hope that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. I also make videos about art and history, so be sure to check those out. My throat kind of hurts. Hail Satan, have a good week.